What up, draft nerds? Today we are taking a look at ESPN's brand new 2025 first round mock draft, predicting all 32 first round picks. Excited to get into this one from the mothership. You know, anytime ESPN drops some big draft news, you always want to check it out. And mock drafts are about as fun as it gets, right? And this one is from Field Yates, who has not been covering the NFL draft and, writing up players and providing scouting reports for all that long. But nonetheless, he is plugged in. I think he does a good job. And we're going to dive into it. Really appreciate y'all being here. If you enjoy the content here, it is all draft all the time at Rogue Football. Please like and subscribe. Let me know what you think about this mock in the comment section below. So we've got Shedeur Sanders to the Giants at 1. And I believe the way ESPN does these mock drafts from a draft order standpoint is based on strength of schedule right now versus tallying up the strength of schedule throughout the rest of the season. So that's going to impact some of the draft slots, which is another weird way to kind of look at it. I'm not sure why they do it that way, honestly. But New York Giants, Shedeur Sanders, quarterback, Colorado at 1. Not a big surprise there. If you've been paying attention, I don't think that Cam Ward or Shedeur Sanders is a quarterback prospect that belongs at the top of the draft, like compared to Caleb Williams, Drake May, Jaden Daniels. I don't think these guys are in that class of quarterback at all, but that's the nature of the position. The Giants and the Raiders are quarterback needy teams. That's just kind of the way it goes. New England Patriots getting Travis Hunter at 3. I mocked him there earlier this week because I just think him and Drake May on the same football field at the same time would be a lot of fun. Travis Hunter and Drake May's skill sets align in a lot of ways. Travis Hunter is really good at making himself available late in routes. He's also just wins with incredible quickness. I love the way he flattens to the ball, makes himself available, has great hands, explosiveness, body control, catch point skills, both, in uncontested situations and contested down the field, ball tracking ability. I just think that they could really help each other grow at the next level. So Travis Hunter and Drake May, that's a lot of fun. Abdul Carter, the Panthers, this is one that makes a lot of sense for me too. I think Abdul Carter, the violence and explosiveness that he plays with, combined with the fact that he has shown some pass rush nuance over the course of this year after transitioning from linebacker, he's a stud for me. Love that one. Kelvin Banks to the Browns. Banks, I've talked about this, a little bit of an interesting study. The Browns absolutely need tackle help. Jedrick Wills probably not going to be around. Jack Conklin dealing with injuries. They need tackle help. Is Kelvin Banks going to be an elite tackle? Is he worth taking at 5 overall? Is Kelvin Banks going to be an elite tackle? Is he worth taking at 5 overall? That's my real only question here. I like a lot of his game. I worry a little bit about the balance issues, the lack of discipline when it comes to getting out over his toes and falling off blocks. So that's my big hang up with him right now. Jets adding Mason Graham to play alongside Quinnen Williams is just absolutely filthy. That is so dirty. That'd be terrifying. If you're an opposing quarterback, offensive coordinator, interior offensive lineman having to deal with those two, it'd be something else. Tetero McMillan to the Titans at 7. I could see this fit for sure. I don't think that the Titans are going to stick with Will Levis. I really don't. So maybe they go get a veteran. They figure something else out at quarterback. I don't think that Brian Callahan is a big fan of Will Levis based on what we've seen so far. And so getting the wide receiver makes sense if you have the quarterback. T-Mac, this is a good range for him to go off the board. And they do need a number 1 wide receiver. I mean, they have Calvin Ridley, but I don't think he's going to be around too long. Probably next year would be his final year in Tennessee, if I had to guess. Will Johnson to the Jaguars. This makes a ton of sense as well. Obviously, Travis Hunter, wide receiver / cornerback. I didn't mention that earlier, but if I was the Patriots, I would love playing him at wide receiver to catch passes from Drake May. You could also be playing him opposite Christian Gonzalez, which would make a ton of sense as well. Either way, though, Will Johnson, next man up at corner, and he is a prototype. Over 200 pounds, 6'2", has the length, has the diagnosis ability to play in man or zone coverage, quick feet, fluid hips, playmaker, physicality. I think it's pretty much all there from Will Johnson. I will want to see him get healthy throughout the draft process, maybe see if we can get a 40 time for Will Johnson. But other than that, I think that this would make a lot of sense for the Jaguars, playing him opposite Tyson Campbell. Now, the one thing here is with the Jags, they've got to do a better job of helping out Trevor Lawrence. They're going to have at least one hole to fill on the interior of the offensive line. They're probably going to want to add another top outside receiver. Maybe they're able to do those things in free agency or throughout the rest of the draft, but that would be the one thing there that you would have to question with the Jaguars, because their most important objective this year, I cover the Jags, is going to be supporting Trevor Lawrence on the offensive side of the ball. Yes, you've got some areas to improve defensively, but you've got to support Trevor Lawrence better than you have. The Chicago Bears getting Will Campbell, I think, is great. Whether they're playing him inside or at tackle, I think he would be an upgrade for them. I would personally be drafting him to play inside at guard or center, because I think he has blue chip talent there. Outside at tackle, probably more of a late first, early second round type of grade. New Orleans Saints getting Michael Williams. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, tremendous talent physically, long way to go from a pass rush perspective, but he kind of fits the bill of a New Orleans Saints draft pick if Mickey Loomis is still running things there. James Pierce Jr. to the Bengals. I mocked this earlier this week. I love the fit. Trey Hendrickson, if he's still there playing opposite James Pierce Jr., you could have a really dynamic pass rush that could help the Bengals be a little bit more competitive moving forward. Ashton Jeanty to the Cowboys, we don't need to talk about that. That's been talked about ad nauseum. I also did this one, Malachi Starks to the Miami Dolphins. If Javon Holland heads elsewhere, Malachi Starks is the perfect replacement and even upgrade to Javon Holland for them. Derek Harmon to the Colts is really interesting. I don't have him valued quite this highly, but I do think he is a balanced interior defensive lineman, probably a 3-tech. Maybe could do a little bit of holding up at the point of attack for you against double teams, but more of a penetration style, one-on-one, get him matched up and try to create some disruption in the backfield. And I do think, playing alongside DeForest Buckner for them could make sense. They do have Grover Stewart up there in age, both him and DeForest Buckner are, so that's kind of the pipeline, I guess, if you will, for the Colts. Although I think they should probably be going corner at that spot, or just secondary in general. There's some guys on the board I'd feel really comfortable with for them. Walter Nolan to the San Francisco 49ers, that would be disgusting. That would be insane. His ability to create penetration, rush the passer, create disruption against the run from the 3-tech spot on that defensive line. Yeah, that could be a match made in heaven there. Jalen Walker to the Cardinals doesn't really move me. I've talked about him. Yes, he's a great athlete. I don't think he's a really good pass rusher or really good linebacker right now, so I have questions about that. Shamar Stewart to the Falcons. This makes sense. He hasn't been a dominant pass rusher at the college level, but he is 6'5", 290 pounds, great length. I think that he shows the pass rush skill set, but the plan and the execution is still coming together. I think Shamar Stewart could end up being a more impactful pass rusher as a pro than he has been so far in college, and he's going to be a dominant edge against the run for you, somebody who can use that speed to power at the very least. Los Angeles Rams getting Josh Simmons out of Ohio State. I would love this fit. I think he'd be a great fit for the Sean McVay offense. Obviously, you got to get him healthy coming off the ACL, but other than that, I think fantastic. Nick Scorton to the Buccaneers. This has been a fit I've seen before as well, and I personally value Scorton above Michael Williams, above Shamar Stewart, so I think this would be great value for the Buccaneers at this point, who need another edge rusher. Commanders getting Luther Burden to pair with Jaden Daniels and Terry McLaurin would be filthy. I think this would be a great fit. I think Luther Burden should be off the board by 20 personally, but I know some of the struggles with the Missouri offense and his usage there could potentially move him down the board a little bit. But talent-wise, physicality, great hands, great catch point skills, super explosive football player. I love Luther Burden's game. Colton Loveland to the Broncos is the one we've talked about a lot. It makes too much sense for Sean Payton, for Bo Nix to add this type of receiving talent at the tight end position. Yeah. Jonas Avenea to the Houston Texans. That's an interesting one for me. He's not my top guard available. I think he needs to play guard. The more I've been looking at it, the more I've been watching him play, I don't really think he's a right tackle, or at least a high-level right tackle. I think he needs to play guard. I would rather take Tyler Booker here. for the Houston Texans. And that is exactly what the Seattle Seahawks did at the very next pick. They took Tyler Booker. Good pick for them. They obviously do probably need some help at tackle as well with the injuries Lucas has been dealing with. But I love Tyler Booker. Gosh, Tyler Booker and Christian Haynes. That would be fantastic. I was such a big Christian Haynes fan last year. So I'm here for that all day. Tyler Warren to the Chargers. Yeah, I mean, his physicality, his toughness, 6'6", 260 pounds, super explosive, great hands, versatility. I think Jim Harbaugh would have a field day with Tyler Warren. Mike Green to the Baltimore Ravens. Now, this is a little high for Mike Green, but I think it would make a lot of sense for the Ravens because they're the type of team that can take this type of player with. He's got length. He's a very bendy edge rusher. Can convert speed to power. Can win around the outside arc. Has spin move. Like, he's got a lot of tools in his bag. Got a lot to his profile. I could see that for the Ravens. Kyle Kennard to the Green Bay Packers. Let's actually read what this says because this is kind of bewildering to me. The South Carolina defensive line is among the best position groups in the FBS this season, with Kennard bursting onto the scene in his first season with the program. He's tied for fifth in the nation with 11.5 sacks, and his length and acceleration made him a challenge to block this season. Kennard drew 6 penalties on opposing dropbacks, tied for the most in the country. Green Bay's in the middle of the pack, but ranks 28th in. Yeah, I don't think Kyle Kennard's coming in and fixing your pass rush. Sorry to say it. I think like a third of his sacks came in one game against Old Dominion. I've watched several of his games. I don't really see an impressive pass rush plan. I don't see bend around the top of the arc. He does have length. I think he does have linear explosiveness. That's not a first round pick. I'm sorry. Gonna have to disagree with you there. 27 Pittsburgh Steelers, Maxwell Harrison. We've seen this one before, and this pairing. I think Harrison is probably shouldn't be the next corner off the board. I do like his physicality. And when I say physicality, he's not a big corner, but he plays the game with physicality. He's aggressive. He's got ball skills. He comes downhill. I like his game. I just don't know if that's the best value you could get at 27. Cameron Williams out of Texas. I mean, him going to Statland University obviously is very enticing. And I think he could play guard for them for a little bit if they need him to. I think they have depth across the offensive line. Maybe he's just your swing tackle for a couple years, depending on how things play out for Lane Johnson up there in years. Jordan Mailata. Cam Williams is a physically impressive player. He's got a lot of work to do technically. I do have him as a second round grade, but him landing at Stoutland U, getting coached up by Jeff Stoutland, I could see that for sure. Emeka Ibuka to the Buffalo Bills. That's an interesting one. I love Ibuka's game. I just kind of look at his game and what you get out of Khalil Shakir, and they're not one-to-one comparisons, but they both operate in the slot a lot. So does Dalton Kincaid. I really feel like they could use more of an outside presence at receiver, depending on what happens with Amari Cooper. Maybe not the best fit, but I certainly don't think he would. I think he would be a good value. Do I think he would be a good fit? I don't know. That's an interesting one to ponder. Siobhan Ravel to the Vikings. We've seen this one a lot too. They need cornerback help. Gilmore up there in age. Byron Murphy said to be a free agent. So yeah, he's coming off the ACL, but he's got super explosiveness, length, all the upside in the world you could ask for as a man cover corner in Brian Flores' defense, assuming Brian Flores is still there. Kansas City Chiefs, Ariante Ursery. This is a bit of a reach for me at tackle. I know that they're trying to get some semblance of a quality left tackle here over the next couple years. You're hoping DJ Humphries can be that, but Humphries had a rough first start for the Kansas City Chiefs this past weekend. Can Ariante Ursery and Kingsley Suamataia and Wanye Morris, can one of them step up and become a quality left tackle for them? Maybe. I think Ursery has a chance to be a decent starter. I think he's got some development to do, though, and he's not like overly bendy or fluid or nimble, but he's got straight line explosiveness. He's got size and length. So, yeah, maybe. Now, this one, no, absolutely not. 32 Detroit Lions taking Donovan Jackson. No way. No way. I don't think Donovan Jackson plays like a Lion. I don't think he's good enough to go 32 overall. I view him as more of a late day 2 guy than an early day 2 guy. I think this would be a huge reach. I don't see the Lions taking a player like this at this spot. If they were going to go guard, I can't remember who else still. I mean, Armand Membu would make a lot more sense. I think Marcus Mbo would make a lot more sense. I don't see this one. Let me know what y'all think in the comment section below. Really appreciate you tuning in. If you enjoy the content here, please like and subscribe. And y'all have a good one.